I've had something on my mind lately. Kind of been reflecting over the past year since I really got serious about coaching and remembering some of the things, like the way things were when I first started, and just some of the emotions that went into that, a lot of feeling overwhelmed. And I remembered how I felt guilty a lot at first for how I was spending my time. And I remember a conversation that Nick and I had. We were already in bed for the night, and I told him, this was about a month into coaching, seriously, maybe 2 months. And I told him, I don't want to do this anymore. And he was like, why? Like, you're starting to be successful at this, and you've only been doing it about a month or two. And I remember crying and telling him, I don't like who I'm becoming. I feel like I'm constantly looking at my phone. I feel like I'm constantly checking to see who has liked my post, who has commented on my post. Like, I'm so driven by this social media persona, and am I sharing the right things? I'm constantly thinking about, what should I post? What should I be sharing? And all this stuff. And I said, and I feel like I'm not present where I am. I feel like I'm not spending time with my kids. I don't feel like I'm spending time with my husband like I should be. Like, I just felt very guilty. And I'll never forget what he said to me. He let me cry, because I was crying. I was in tears. I was frustrated, and I felt like all this guilt was piling on. And I thought, if this is what this means, if this is what coaching means, if it requires that it take all my time away from my family and all of my just thought life to where I can't even be present where I am, I don't want to do this. I don't want to sacrifice that. And so I was just going to stop altogether. I was going to throw everything out the window and just forget it. And what Nick told me was, okay, those are valid concerns. Those are valid things. You're right. I don't want you to remain in this place where you're constantly on your phone and you don't feel like you're present with us. But I don't think you need to give it up altogether. I think this just shows it's worth fighting for. The balance, the time management is worth fighting for. And I'm not really sure how I responded initially. I think he told me, because I know I'm this way. The later it gets at night, the more emotional I get, and the more I speak and act off of emotions instead of truth. And so I think he told me, we're not going to talk about it anymore tonight. I want you to just sleep on it and just consider trying it, continuing to try to work this business and help other people and fight for that balance. Set up some boundaries, set up some structure with your time, try to create more of a schedule. And so it was because of his encouragement. He saw the value in what I was doing, and whereas I wanted to just throw it all out and think, this is impossible and I can't do this, I can't balance my time, I don't want to sacrifice who I am as a wife and a mom and a friend and constantly be on my phone working this business. Instead of just throwing it all out, he said, fight for it. Fight for the balance, because I think you can do it. And I think there's a balance that can be found. And now, a year later, I am so, so grateful that he pushed me in that he didn't let me be extreme, and that instead of saying, yes, you need to quit this altogether, he said, no, you just need to tweak it some. You need to manage your time better. You need to set specific business hours for when you're going to, you need to see this as a business, because if you don't, you're going to be on your phone all day long, and then you will feel like a failure as a wife and a mom. Don't do that. Set business hours and stick to it. And that began a very messy process of trying to find that balance. But now, a year later, I feel so much more confident in what I'm doing, and I'm so much I don't feel like I'm sacrificing who I am as a wife and a mom. I have set times that I get on my phone and I check things, and then I put my phone away. And it's doable, y'all. It is doable. It's worth fighting for. So that's what I want to encourage y'all with, is especially if you're a new coach and you're in these early months of feeling like there's so much information, there's so much to try and learn, you're feeling overwhelmed, that is normal and it's worth fighting for. When or if you feel feelings of guilt and feel like this business is affecting the things that are most important to you, don't quit. Instead, identify that guilt and allow it to help you figure out where you need to balance a little more, where you need to look at, okay, what are the things that are the most important for my business? I need to spend my time doing that. I need to be disciplined and not just scroll on Facebook. Social media is how we run this business. You've got to connect with people on social media. So you've got to be disciplined to not click on that little red notification button and just spend wasting time, scrolling. You've got to be disciplined to say, okay, I'm going to sit down at my computer and I'm only going to connect with people right now. Okay, now I'm going to follow up with people that I've previously connected with. Okay, now I'm going to talk to my coaches. Okay, now I'm going to spend 5 minutes just scrolling and updating myself with people in my life and commenting on posts and seeing how people are doing. I'm going to set a timer on my phone, and when that timer goes off, I'm done. And then I'm going to put my phone away for whatever else I need to be doing today, and I'll check back in at the boys' nap time. I'll check back in after they go to bed at 7 o'clock. And I'm going to work in the evenings. Nick and I have talked about I'm going to work until 8:30, and then I'm going to be done most nights, unless there's a night where he's gone or something. Set your business hours and stick to it. When you feel that guilt and you feel that messiness, don't quit. Don't get overwhelmed. Just use that emotion as a trigger to identify that you need to fight for it a little bit. You need to figure out, okay, this isn't working, and that doesn't mean that all of this is bad and that I need to throw it out. Instead, it means I need to try and manage my time a little bit better. I'm about to go live in my intentional living group and share something that I've been doing differently, just as it pertains to my cell phone, and how it has totally affected my day, my overall day, and just being productive and being present wherever I am. And I'm not perfect in it yet, but I'm working at it. And so that's just what I want to encourage y'all with today, is if and when, because I know so many of you, you have the same priorities and values that I have. You don't want this business to make you neglect your family. And I'm right there with you. I totally agree with that. I don't want this business to make you neglect your family. So when you feel, because it'll probably happen at some point if you're serious about this business, when you feel like your family's suffering, don't just throw the business away and say, this isn't worth it. Instead, use that feeling to help you manage your time a little bit better, to adjust things. Talk to your spouse, talk to the people closest to you and say, okay, where should I tweak things? Where should I make this work? How can we both make sacrifices and work together on this so that the things that matter the most are not suffering? And so I just want to encourage you with that. If you're, Erin, you said you're in the messy zone. Yes, that is so normal. Even for the first 6 months of your business, there's a lot to learn. So just keep at it, because what you're doing matters. The more I do this, the more confident I am that it's exactly what I should be doing. And it's so valuable to hear people say that not just their bodies are changing physically, but their discipline in other areas of their lives are changing, just how they're being intentional in relationships. And it's just, it's a joy, and it is an honor to get to do this and call it a job. So I just want to encourage y'all with that. I would love to hear your feedback on that here. Have you experienced any of those feelings of guilt or frustration or being overwhelmed? Identify it, and let's talk about what you can learn from it. Don't just give up altogether, because I promise you, the time and investment that you give to this business is going to yield fruit. And I don't want to say that as you need to be spending all of your time doing this, because I don't feel that way. Right now, I'm spending probably a total of 2 to 3 hours a day on this. But when I spend those 2 to 3 hours broken up into about 3 different time slots, I'm going at it hard, and I'm not doing anything else but focusing on that, so that when it's not business hour time, I can focus on my boys. I can focus on Nick. I can focus on my job at IGO, my work there, our community group at church, the things that matter. And so if you want to chat with me about how to manage your time, let's talk about that. Let's look at your schedule. Let's look at what might be the best fit for you. So hope that encourages you today. I hope you have a great Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.